Welcome to the Auburn Medical Group YouTube live stream, the entertaining medical live stream where viewers can ask real-time questions of real medical doctors. And here are our hosts, Dr. Mark Vaughn and Dr. Gwen Vaughn.
Welcome to the show. Of course, this is a show without Dr. Gwen, thus the empty seat. So this will be us, the fans, the people viewing this on the streaming, as it happens here at 4:30 on Mondays, almost every Monday, with people like Lindsay Antwine and Lizzy, who are already commenting. We'll go ahead and get to your comments, and we'll start with Lizzy, who's saying hello. Let's see if we can bring her up here. And also Lindsay with, does money help with the chat goals? Money helps everything, doesn't it? Chat goals. Oh my goodness, $40. Well, thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. That's very kind of you. And it can help for some things. Yes, we appreciate that. Thank you. That's really cool. And then as you can see, that little symbol right, let's see if I can get my fingers right around it, roughly in this area here. It looks like the Auburn Medical Group logo, but it has a number on it. I think it's a 24 for 24 months of being a member of the channel, but also Lindsay Antwine's a member of Patreon that you can find at, let's see here, Patreon right there. That shows you where it is. Dr. Gwen's, of course, he's not active on it right now, and he's out of the office today, so that's why I'm covering the whole show by myself. I do have a topic that we can get to, but it's not urgent. And we can go ahead and take your comments and questions in priority over that. Let me jump back to the comments here. But of course, thank you, Lindsay, for that. That's very kind of you. Lizzy, not to be confused with Lindsay, but Lizzy says, no, but liking and sharing are good for... Yes, liking and sharing. Thank you. We do appreciate people doing that. I don't say it a bunch because I'm more about getting to the topic of the show than promoting it. And T. Lung, who's sometimes a part of the show, saying hello to everybody. Lizzy saying hello to him also. And yes, trying to get the name right. Thank you. We appreciate that effort. I'm going to go back to this one because that one's so cool. The one with Lindsay Antwine. The topic that we can get to, if you want, is the H5N1 virus. It's a flu virus that has been seen in people, being seen in cattle. And apparently even going from cattle to a person. It's seen in 5 states, including Texas and Idaho, and some throughout the middle of the country. It's not an especially deadly virus as of yet. I haven't heard of any especially bad morbidity associated with the person who got it, apparently from a cow. They're not 100% sure where it's going and where it's coming from. We know that it's being seen every time they look into it, into more and more species, mammals specifically, even though it's called a bird flu, but now mammals are sharing it around. This is kind of what COVID was. COVID was thought to be in some mammals, smaller mammals, bats, and some kind of a ground-based mammal. I don't remember the name of it, something they only have in China before infecting humans. So it's not an uncommon thing to see these viruses. You've heard of swine flu, going back centuries, if not millennia, also jumping over from the swine into people. And a lot of times, these zoonoses, as we call them, meaning a disease coming from an animal. That's why the zoo is in it, like zoo, zoological garden, or zoology, meaning animals. They often will start infecting people and cause great problems. And throughout history, that's how we've had a number of epidemics or pandemics even. So it's something to keep an eye on. And of course, we still encourage people to get their flu shots, because if this is the strain that they see is apparent in the part of the world that has flu and we don't, then those are the strains they put into the flu shot for the next flu season here in the Northern Hemisphere that we get in late August and into October. Okay, moving on to further comments. Oh, okay, Lizzy has a good question about eating steak. If you cook the steak, you should be able to denature the virus so that it can't harm you. And that's true for harm from bacteria in food too. Most foods, if you just cook the meat well enough so that it's not red, you should not have a problem with some kind of microbe hurting you. There's an exception, and that would be, well, there's probably a lot of exceptions, but one of the ones that especially comes to mind is the mad cow disease prion. That is thought to not easily be denatured by just simply heating and can still infect people and cause them to have either Creutzfeldt-Jakob or mad cow disease is what it is in cows, or spongiform encephalopathy. These are really bad dementia type of neurodegenerative diseases that hit much later in life after eating meat. I believe it's usually thought to be only from having central nervous system components in the food that people eat. So that means like some brain tissue being in there. So that's why it's not recommended to eat beef brain. Not that I was intending to. Okay, getting back to Lizzy likes her steak medium rare. Well, that's better than rare, I guess. And wait, you just said that, Lizzy. Laura Barzyk is here. Laura also is a longtime participant in the show. And Laura, we appreciate you chiming in here on today's show. Lizzy thinks it's gross to eat the cow brains. That's okay. You can think that. The status currently, and I'll just show you here. I'll go ahead and show you the article that I was looking at. If I can pull it up here. I was getting this from a website called Stat News. Here it is up here, statnews.com. It's a website that specifically caters to medical news. And so this is the article here. I love the picture of the cow. See the cow's eyes? How can you eat that? So H5N1 bird flu in cows and risks to humans. More to come on that. This is not the whole story here at this point. Should this news have been such a shock? No, not really. This is what happens. And also because we're not seeing it as terribly virulent right now. What they're concerned about is what will happen if this were to be one of those viruses that mutates into something a little more dangerous down the line. And of course, that can always happen with any virus at any time. We saw it with COVID, that at one point it got worse and then got better as far as not being as dangerous and as deadly. Combined with an awful lot of people did die from previous strains who were the more vulnerable to it. But there's still people out there who haven't been especially exposed to it and could be vulnerable to current strains. Okay, cute but so tasty, haha. Oh, Lizzy also says, my husband doesn't trust any pink meat. Yeah, so he knows. He's seen some information about what happens with not cooking your meat all the way through. Admittedly, it's not to be expected most of the time when you eat undercooked meats. You always see those warnings on menus and in restaurants about the eating of uncooked or undercooked meats. It is a risk, but it's there, but it's small. So if you want to be safe, of course, you don't eat the meat with the red in it. If you enjoy the flavor, there is a degree of risk that you're taking in doing that. Okay, so enough about, is it Lizzy's husband or, yeah, Lizzy's husband. You're probably wondering where Dr. Gawain is, and I am too, because he's not here, but he will be back next week. That's the plan, that we'll have the show with Dr. Gawain. I know that's why a lot of people tune in, because visually, well, it's Dr. Gawain. What more can I say? Lindsay's also bringing her husband into it too. I don't know why Jonathan has to be dragged into this. Lizzy, my husband will eat steak so rare it could still be resuscitated. It's gross. Oh my goodness. Oh boy, that would be be disturbing. So with your contribution and a little article on the beef influenza situation, we'll move on to the next subject on, what's it called? That website, whatever you call that website. Stat News, that's what it's called. So let's go ahead and take a look back at what else is in the news, medical news. High physician empathy could offer patients with lower back pain lasting benefits, study shows. There are a lot of studies about this, and it kind of relates to that show that we did on touch, if you'll remember that, about how physician touch. Actually, it didn't specify just physician touch. It was just touch being therapeutic and showing different benefits at different age groups, all the way from infants all the way up to adults. And they were finding that it was better if it wasn't just touch from something, but something that was soft or warm. And then we talked a little bit about those horrible psychological studies that were done with the babies taken from their mothers, and they preferred to cling to even a wire like model of a monkey over nothing. But of course they preferred the one with the carpet on it or some kind of a cloth over nothing. And more about Lindsay's husband, Lizzy and Lindsay, boy, talking to each other about their husbands. Steak. So that is all I'm going to touch on today for today's news. Unless any of you have some comments or questions, something that you've seen in the news you'd like to hear me comment about, certainly put that up and we will get to that. If not during the show, then certainly in the comments afterwards, we will look at that and address whatever comes through. Other things going on here at the Auburn Medical Group. You met Ryan, who's now one of our PAs. We also have another PA starting in late May. So lots of growth here, and we are open to insurances that we hadn't been. So if people are in the area looking for a doctor and have tried to get in with us in the past, but we didn't take that particular insurance, check regularly. It changes according to how much volume is coming in through the phone lines. So it's an up and down thing. And then also we have Lizzy's, speaking of medical, my 87-year-old mother-in-law went to the ER Friday, diagnosed with super high blood pressure, AFib. She's still there. We realized yesterday that they had a purple band on her wrist. I'm not familiar with the purple band other than maybe some kind of a in-hospital identification. And they didn't tell us it was DNR. Oh, okay. More information here. Nobody signed a paper for it. That would be something to try to track down through the records to see where that came from, because there should have been a discussion with somebody, the patient or somebody else, to see why that would be, because that's not something for anybody to decide but the patient themselves, or if they're unable to make decisions, whoever their designated decision maker is. Let me take this as an opportunity to encourage everyone to have some kind of document and give it to your doctor that says who you would allow to make decisions for you in the event that you couldn't make your own decisions. Who knows, maybe something like that contributed to this misunderstanding. Today the hospital freaked about it as well as we did. Today the hospital freaked about it. That's a disturbing thing. So yeah, anyone would be disturbed by that. She had a UTI and was out of her mind at the time. Yeah, so that's when you look into who the decision maker is. So sorry, Lizzy, I hope she's better soon. Yeah, we all hope that she's better soon and gets out of the hospital. And again, that would be something to follow up on to find out how that happened, because that should not happen without the patient either making the decision, or if they're incapable of it, a family member that they have said is the decision maker. And if you don't say who the decision maker is, then you don't have any particular family member that they can definitely count on and allow to make the decisions. And also Laura talking about when her mom had an UTI, had to stay in the hospital with her 4 days because of hallucination. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, Laura. I hope she's doing well now. So thank you, Lindsay Antwine, for the super chat. Thank you, Laura and Lizzy, for participating. And T. Lung. Lizzy's also mother-in-law said she didn't want that. She'd rather be resuscitated. Then, yeah, try to get that officially on documentation into the record and reverse whatever's in the hospital system that says she's DNR. You do not want that if that's not her wishes. So we'll end the show there. Thank you for all of your participation. The comments just keep coming. We appreciate that and look forward to doing it again next week. Until then, this is Dr. Mark Vaughn telling, and also Lindsay Antwine, because as you see at the end, she is a very honored person through our Patreon, and you can too. And I'll show you the link here in just a moment. Until then, Dr. Mark Vaughn and Lindsay Antwine telling you to stay in good health.
Doctors, thank you for another informative session. Auburn Medical Group is located in Auburn, California, USA. Thank you for participating. Please tell a friend and join us again next week.